Shurley English, we believe that learning English can be fun. As an innovator in the education industry for over 2 decades, Shurley English has specialized in developing a superior language arts curriculum for students across the country. Throughout a student's academic career, language arts is taught. It becomes a frustrating task when each year, students do not remember the most basic language skills. Without a basic foundation, how can students be expected to learn advanced concepts? Shurley English is the solution. Not only do students retain basic skills, they learn to transfer these concepts into each aspect of language study. Shurley English gives students the concrete steps necessary to relate the following: a definition to a concept to a skill practice, a skill practice to writing, and writing to oral language. Throughout this video, you will see this Making the Connection logo. This logo will serve as a visual illustration of how Shurley English makes the progression from one skill or concept to another. We begin with jingles. Jingles are a fun way to learn language arts definitions. The jingles incorporate rhythm, rhyme, movement, and repetition, all proven methods of learning. This is a fun, expressive, cooperative time that engages students while learning is taking place.
Here we go. This little pronoun floating around takes the place of a little old noun. With a knick-knack, paddywhack, these are English rules. Isn't language fun and cool? A verb shows action, there's no doubt. It tells what the subject is like sing or shout. Action verbs are fun to do. Now it's time to name a few. So clap your hands and join around. Say the words in rapid time. Like wiggle, jiggle, turn around, wave your arms to the ground. Shake your feet and we out. Where your action verbs good clap. Sentence is complete. When 5 simple rules it meets. It has a subject, and a verb, and it makes sense with every word. Add a capital letter and a punctuation mark, and now our sentence has all its parts. But remember, subject and verb and complete sense with the capital letter and an end marked trim. Our sentence is complete, and now we're through.
Good job!
Well, what we've done was we've made the Shurley English jingles our own by incorporating current hip-hop music, current jazz, current Latino, whatever kind of music it is, and we actually sing the Shurley English jingles on top of those beats.
I like the jingles because they help you learn about what the definitions for different parts of speech are.
Well, what I like the most is the jingles because they're fun and they teach you stuff at the same time. It helps you forget that you're learning, but you are.
The jingles are great. I had a student come to me the other day and he said, Miss Lee, I love the jingles because when I'm on a test or a practice and I can't remember what an adverb question is, I can sing the jingle in my head and I automatically remember what the adverb is. And to me, that speaks for itself because that's exactly what the jingles are supposed to be. When they can take the jingle and it becomes more than a song, but something they can refer back to and use in their English and their writing and their grammar, then that's effective.
The next step in the Shurley English process is the question and answer flow. The question and answer flow is an oral way to analyze the role of each word in a sentence.
Several children are waiting patiently for the popcorn man. Who are waiting patiently for the popcorn man? Children. Subject noun. What is being said about children? Children are waiting. Verb. Flew. How high. Adverb. How high? Very. Adverb. Flew when? Yesterday. Adverb. What kind of eagles? Large. Adjective. Subject, noun, verb, transitive, direct object, pattern 2, skill check. Verb, transitive, check again. On the gravel, prepositional phrase. Beside your house, prepositional phrase. Question mark, question, interrogative sentence.
Classifying sentences is done in a group atmosphere where students are provided feedback in a non-threatening way, a powerful brain-compatible strategy.
I think it's so neat to talk about innovation. And what we have to do is we have to step back just a couple of steps to talk about the brain and how it learns. And one of the things that we now know, and it is documented, that if a child feels threatened in the classroom, if there's fear or, let's just say, major confusion, that child's probably not going to learn the information very well. And one of the things we counteract with Shurley English is to make sure that it's a safe, happy, fun, exciting adventure, and students beg to do Jingles. They want to do the question-answer flow. They feel smart. And you know what happens when you feel smart? You get smarter. Kids who feel excited about learning, they're going to keep learning because they're motivated.
I like doing it with the class because I feel more comfortable and I'm not by myself.
It's helpful to do everything together because if you see examples of other students, you learn by their examples. So.
Since words and the roles they play in sentences can change, Shurley English avoids teaching the parts of speech in isolation. A constant review of concepts is maintained throughout the year. Repetition, a proven method of learning, leads to retention. In addition to repetition, students utilize all the learning styles. They see it, hear it, say it, and do it. Shurley English breaks the cycle of forgetting basic language concepts.
There is no comparison with Shurley English and other curriculums because the other curriculums basically teach the skills in isolation. You work on nouns for a few weeks and then you move on and you work on something else. And as a teacher, if you aren't supplementing things in there to make it all make sense, and a lot of times it never does click or make sense with the children. With Shurley, I don't have to worry about supplementing those things because it's going to provide all those things for me. If my students don't get nouns or get adjectives or adverbs, they're going to have another opportunity because we're going to practice that every day. A lot of times by just teaching the skills in isolation, we don't give them the rigor maybe that they need or the higher order thinking that they need. And Shurley is able to bring that in so that they are getting those skills every day. They're reviewing those skills.
When I take tests now, I'm able to pick out the noun, the verbs, the pronouns, subject nouns, and subject pronouns and stuff, and things. Last year I didn't know the parts of speech and now I do. And it helped me a lot.
When I take the test, I feel confident because I know what I'm going to pick and I know the right answer.
Since students are retaining basic information, they now have the opportunity to explore more advanced English skills.
And I think that in the past we've always thought that direct object, indirect objects and things like that are skills for the upper levels. And really, there's first graders working on prepositional phrases, which is unheard of, really. The Shurley program just really introduces it in a way they can understand it.
Writing, practice, and revise sentences help students develop the connection between grammar and writing. We start at the most basic level, sentence composition. First, students write a practice sentence from a set of given grammar labels. Then, students learn to expand and improve their original sentence using revision strategies to write the revised sentence. Throughout this whole process, nothing has been left behind. Students continually review definitions, parts of speech, and practice creating and revising sentences. These skills will enjoy full expression later in paragraph composition.
So when they're doing the practice and revised sentences, they're literally constructing sensible sentences. They're not that great probably at first. That's fine. That's part of the writing process. But then we strategically show them the skills they need to revise. If you talk to any writing teacher anywhere, that teacher will scream and holler and fuss and fight because they can't figure out how to get their students to revise when you're at the revision stage of the writing process. Students who don't know they're making mistakes in grammar and writing, they don't fix them. And in Shurley English, they learn where they're making their errors. In fact, they learn how to avoid them to begin with. I want to be able to have a conversation, a very intelligent, highly critical thinking conversation with a student about the writing. And if they don't have that vocabulary for grammar, they can't talk to me about it. They can't manipulate the language. They can't make revisions. I don't want that to happen to my student who is maybe 3 or 4 years down the road in their education and already have made miscorrelations or mistakes in their understanding. In the practice and revise sentence process, they get those skills locked in.
As students are introduced to various skills, Shurley English incorporates them into the writing process. Students are now held accountable for skills such as capitalization and punctuation, sentence structure, mechanics, usage, and even the vocabulary and analogies they have been taught.
Word. Proud. Definition. To move quietly in search of prey. Synonym. Free. Antonym. Flee. Sentence. A cougar prowled quietly through the forest.
Great job.
First word, prior.
Prior.
Tranquil.
Tranquil.
Salvage.
Salvage.
Strenuous.
Strenuous.
Abrupt.
Abrupt.
Ignite.
Ignite.
Peril.
Peril.
Petition.
Petition.
Would you like to do it one more time?
Yeah.
One more time.
I believe that the vocabulary and the analogies are some of the best stuff that Shurley does do. That is an area where students don't have a lot of exposure to analogies. And so I think it's an excellent way to help them to learn synonyms, antonyms, words in context, analogies for sure. And they're used to analogies being like high and low and black and white, opposites. But when the other analogies, where it's maybe a synonym or maybe it's they have to look at a different relationship, they really have to think. I like that about it.
Now that students have a concrete understanding of sentence composition, they will begin to organize paragraphs and essays according to their purpose. During the writing process, we provide students with necessary language tools and nurture effective writing traits to help students become distinctive and effective communicators. We leave nothing to chance. Students are provided with organizational patterns and checklists for their writing, which results in a logical progression of ideas. Our goal is for the student to have a complete understanding of how to create written pieces that are clear, readable, and understandable. And with Shurley English, they can achieve just that.
The aspect that I would estimate as being superior is the writing portion of the program. What I really like about it is that the way that it is outlined and is real easy for the students to follow. It gives them just real concrete structure, but yet it does give them enough a chance to also be creative, with their writing.
At the beginning of the year, we always do writing samples. The children, their thoughts were not flowing sequentially. They wouldn't stay on track. Their sentences were incomplete, of course. But now we've gone to the expository writing, and it's unbelievable how my weaker writers have improved. They're able to, have the main ideas and write the details about it. Also, they have the mapping, the pre-writing maps that helps organize their thoughts.
But I also like in the checklist that the kids have to go through, that they can check themselves and make sure that they have all of the components in their writing before they turn it in. And it's broken down by each, the pre-writing and the rough draft and the editing and the revision, and it has it broken down and what they should do at each level. And I think that's an excellent way to teach it.
Wouldn't it be fabulous if students wanted to beg their teachers about what they got to write about? Now I think that when you get students so motivated that they want to express their thoughts in writing, then you are well on the road to literacy.
And with Shurley English, students are motivated. They are eager to write because they feel confident and successful as writers. They know what is expected from them. students have internalized the flexible writing structures required to create a clear, cohesive piece of writing.
At the beginning of the year, they hate writing. And they're, oh, you know, do we have to write? And then after they have used Shurley English and they have grown in that and they see themselves as good writers and they're confident, they don't want to stop writing. They want to write about everything and they want to share it with people too. And that's a great thing to see in students, their excitement.
Shurley Grammar it has helped me write, because most of the time I wrote things that didn't make any sense, but then I started using Shurley Grammar and everything I wrote actually made sense.
The pre-writing map helps me because it helps me figure out what I'm going to write about before I actually write about it.
What I like best is the 2-point expository, because you can still tell stuff you like colors, games, animals, and books, stuff like that.
My favorite type of writing is narrative writing because I get to use my imagination. There's no limit.
A day at the beach is always exciting. Everyone gets up early to pack for the day. When we arrive, Mom sets up a large beach umbrella and we lay our towels under it. I love to run and play in the water. Then we build huge sandcastles and Mom makes us put on sunscreen and gives us lunch. Since we have to wait an hour to swim, Dad and I look for seashells. By the end of the day, everyone is happy, hot, and exhausted.
A wild imagination. Since I have been learning about different genres of literature, I discovered I have 3 favorite categories. Books that make my imagination run wild are awesome. My favorite genres are fantasy, science fiction, and historical fiction. My absolute favorite type of book genre is fantasy. When I read a fantasy book, it feels like I'm falling into the book. Usually I escape into another magical world.
In addition to the improvement in written communication, the transfer to oral communication is prevalent.
I really see a dramatic change in the way students speak also. And I feel like the grammar part is making the kids now be conscious of proper ways of completing sentences now. Complete subject and verb agreements now.
We have come full circle. Students are able to make the connection between grammar, skills, writing, and oral language.
The children really like the Shurley English program. What we found is, instead of doing a certain skill for a week or two and moving on, there's kind of a continuum with the question and answer flow, the jingles that we repeat daily. It becomes a target skill for them, so when we're identifying parts of speech, they'll go back and go through the jingle quickly. They can also transfer the question and answer flow, the jingles, to their writing. So when we're doing different types of writing, whether it's the expository or persuasive, when they're doing writer's workshop, and especially the student editing, we'll go back through and we'll use those jingles. We'll use the question and answer flow, and they'll say, well, what can we do with this sentence? Or let's think of this as a practice sentence. Now, what can we do to improve that sentence to make your writing more interesting and to have more variety, both in your synonyms, antonyms, but also variety in sentence structure. And so that question and answer flow just locks right in on that. So we use those as target words when we're both teacher, student editing, and when the kids are peer editing.
We have carefully developed and refined this progression to feature an exceptional balance of proven methods of teaching and learning. Shurley English blends direct instruction, the memory model, multiple intelligences, brain-compatible instruction, cooperative learning, and multisensory learning models. Not only this, Shurley English is a flexible curriculum and functions well with curriculum alignment strategies used in such scales as Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's revised taxonomy, and Webb's depth of knowledge. Simply put, we span the spectrum of research-based teaching and learning techniques and address every learning style effectively.
I think that Shurley English, for me, and I think for any teacher who uses the program, what they find is that even if they already had a fairly strong grasp of the language, it serves almost as a polarization. It's a catalyst to help align for the teacher how logical our language really is and how simple it really is to teach. Most teachers are trying to mix components of multiple intelligences, and they're trying to put direct instruction in place, and they want to make sure they use brain-compatible strategies. along with cooperative learning and the memory model. They want to bring all those things in. Well, most teachers don't just do that off the cuff. And I think they need a great tool that's going to help them accomplish that task.
I believe my favorite aspect of Shurley English is that it coincides with what brain research has been telling us for years, that you learn from whole to part. The mind is looking for those global things to connect to. And in the past, when I taught English, and it ended up being like you taught the nouns, all the different types of nouns, and then you taught the verbs, all the different types of verbs, and then you taught the pronouns, and then you went back and taught the adjectives, and by then, when you'd say it modifies a noun, they were like, what's a noun? So it was so fragmented that the students did not connect, did not make those connections, where Shurley teaches everything and how the sentence goes together, how all the different jobs of each one of those parts of speech, and it makes more sense.
By integrating all types of learning strategies, everyone can experience success. Even those students with special needs and English language learners thrive in the Shurley English curriculum.
I teach the interrelated class, which is Special Education PEC program for exceptional children. I have a range of disabilities and grade levels, 2nd through 5th grade, and their disabilities range from learning disabled to emotional with behavioral problems and also intellectual disabilities. I have the type of children that need visual aids, that need hands-on activities, that need, that extra push to get through their schoolwork, and this program gives them all three of those things, plus a lot of other ways to make learning language arts fun.
6 young puppies tumble playfully. What tumble playfully? Puppies. Subject now. What's being said about puppies? Puppies tumble. Verb.
I also like the way that Shurley English provides modification lessons for the ELL students. We have the resource CD where we can modify a lesson if necessary. So we can pull in that differentiated instruction that we do sometimes need for some children. So all children can feel successful with using Shurley English.
Now students are prepared. They have retained the needed information to proceed into advanced skill acquisition and application. They are equipped for assessment in language arts because they are confident and competent in the use of standard English. They can communicate efficiently and effectively, whether in written or spoken form.
The growth that you see from the beginning to the end is awesome.
The test scores after using Shurley English do in fact improve because Shurley English does allow the students to actually be able to apply those skills. They're not just learning them and then regurgitating them on a test in a way to just prove that they understand what a noun is or a verb is, but yet they're actually able to use it.
I believe in students learning and having fun at the same time, and this is what Shurley English has provided for the students here at Capitol View.
I do encourage teachers to give Shurley a try. I am sold on it, and I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of textbook adopted series, and this is the best.
Well, I can truly say that this is a program that I truly endorse. I can say that because I've done it without using Shurley English. And I can truly say that this has brought a level of excitement, not only to me as a teacher, but to my students I service. And I really feel that Shurley English encompasses everything that these students need to learn about reading and language arts, not only for testing, but for life skills.
I think that other administrators and principals who are not doing the Shurley program really should do some research because the growth is there. I just think they need to get out there and observe and look for themselves because seeing is believing.
As a superintendent of a school, I would talk to you and I would ask you, what is your goal for language? What is your goal for your students? And what is your goal for your district? And if your goal is to see them achieve more and do more, then you need to adopt Shurley English. It not only helps them with English skills, but it carries over to their reading, which also carries over to their math. Because now they can do those math problems that are word problems a lot easier because they understand the flow of the sentence better. So if you want your school to excel, Mr. Superintendent, you need to purchase Shurley English.
After implementation, you will see that the Shurley English curriculum does not require the use of remediation and interventions because the students' understanding of basic English concepts is strengthened.
In previous years with other English programs, I just felt like the kids did not comprehend what they were talking about. They were bored with it. Most of the times, if you ask kids what their least favorite subject was, it would be English. But with Shurley English, it's become their favorite. They love the jingles, they love the question-answer flow, they love the interaction among the students. They just feel confident. And because they feel confident, they like it better.
Our leadership in innovative teaching methods has helped educators and students succeed in their quest for excellence. For additional information, we invite you to go to the main menu on this DVD. You can view each aspect of Shurley English in greater detail through live classroom demonstrations. You can also view more testimonials from educators and administrators about why Shurley English is the choice for quality language arts education.
Shurley English is a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a lot better than the other ones because you'd just be sitting down, reading a book, and answering questions.
Shurley English, it's fun for the kids and the teachers.
Shurley English is my favorite.
It's easier than what I've had, but it's supposed to be because their motto is English made easy, which I really think it is. I love it.
We thank you for your time and consideration. If you would like Shurley English to make a positive impact within your district, please contact us today.